Think about the last time your team went 2-0 up in a match. Think about how that felt. Not relief exactly, something quieter. Like, you could breathe better. Now think about what happened to your team's football in those next 20 minutes. There's something almost everyone who watches football has experienced, and almost nobody has properly explained. It happens in leagues across the world, in big matches and small ones, with elite clubs and Sunday afternoon matches. A team gets a lead, and then quietly, without any dramatic moment to point at, they get worse. Well, not obviously worse. Nobody makes a terrible mistake straight away. Nobody suddenly forgets how to pass. It is subtler than that. The space between their lines widens by half a meter. Their pressing triggers come a touch late. The second balls they were winning all game start being contested with slightly less urgency. Each change is so small it is invisible in real time. Together, they are the difference between 2-0 and 2-2. Klopp, after Bournemouth, beat his Liverpool side 4-3 in December 2016. A match where Liverpool led 3-1 with 25 minutes remaining said something that cut right to the bone of this. "We gave the game away," he said. "We didn't play football anymore, we were static." He wasn't angry, he wasn't making excuses, he was just describing something he recognized. And that recognition is the thing worth sitting with. Because he didn't say they fell apart, he didn't say they panicked, he said they stopped playing. And there is a world of difference between those two things. Liverpool were 2 goals up inside 22 minutes. Sadio Mane, then Divock Origi, scored the 2 goals for Liverpool. Eddie Howe's Bournemouth side, in only their second season in the top flight, looked completely overwhelmed. At halftime, Liverpool goes into the dressing room with a 2-0 lead and a 15-game unbeaten run still intact. Now watch what happens to how Liverpool play. Bournemouth pull one back just after the hour. A penalty won by a substitute, and Callum Wilson scored from the spot. Suddenly, Liverpool's lead is 2-1, and it is, at precisely this moment, that something interesting occurs in the shape of the two teams. Liverpool, who had been moving the ball with intent, begin to manage possession instead. They stop looking for the third goal and they start looking for safety. Emre Can scores and Liverpool look comfortable again. And that is where you need to watch them most carefully, because in the 14 minutes that follow, they do not make dramatic errors. They just stop doing the things that made them good. They become static, as Klopp said, dropping into positions that are easier to defend from, but harder to attack from. Their midfield sits deeper, their pressing disappears. They are, in every practical sense, a different team. There is genuine research behind why this happens. Studies into how teams perform at different score states consistently show that teams change their technical output when they are winning. Passing accuracy tends to drop, attacking involvement decreases, and the shape of the team contracts. Not because of any tactical instruction necessarily, but because the mind, sensing that something good needs to be protected, it happens below the level of conscious decision-making. And here's the flip side, which is the stranger and more important thing. For Bournemouth, going 3-1 down with 25 minutes left by almost every rational measure should have meant the end. But watch the running data from that period. Teams that concede goals consistently show increases in high intensity in the minutes that follow. It sounds counterintuitive. When you have nothing left to lose, you run harder. When the mountain looks impossible, the people trying to climb it stop thinking about the summit and start thinking about the next step. Ryan Fraser pulls one back. The score is now 3-2. Steve Cook makes it 3-3 2 minutes later. And Bournemouth, against all probability, keep going. Because there's no protection instinct operating anymore. There's nothing to protect. There is only the attempt, and Nathan Ake scores the winner in the 3rd minute of added time. The stats on leads like these are interesting. In 25 years of Premier League data, more than 2,000 matches, a team that goes 2-0 up wins that game roughly 90% of the time. Fewer than 3% lose from there. So it is not that 2-0 leads are genuinely fragile in any tactical sense. The lead is almost always safe, but safe is exactly the problem. A team that knows it is almost certainly going to win cannot turn that knowledge off. It leaks into every decision, into the speed of the pass, into the angle of the run, into the question the fullback asks himself when he sees a space, do I take that risk? And the answer, when you are 3-1 up with 25 minutes left, is increasingly no. We don't need to do that anymore. But football is not played by what you don't need to do. It is played by what you do. And when a team stops doing when they become, as Klopp put it, static, the shape of the game changes without any single person choosing to change it. The team conceding feels the change before they can explain it. Space opens, and pressing that was pinning them back vanishes. The game suddenly is different. Here's what's easy to miss in all this. The Bournemouth players were not better at 3-2 than they were at 3-1. They were not more talented. Their fitness had not suddenly returned. What changed was simpler and stranger than any of that. Being behind by 2 goals carries a specific kind of psychological weight. The weight of a gap to close, a mountain that may be unclimbable, a situation that demands something extraordinary. Being behind by 1 goal carries a completely different psychological reality. It demands the ordinary. It demands the next pass, the next run, the next pressure. It becomes manageable. Conceding from 3-1 up did not only hurt Liverpool, it helped Bournemouth in a way that the scoreline alone cannot show. The first Bournemouth goal liberated something in the players, and simultaneously, it returned something to Liverpool, the fear they had lost. The fear that the match was not yet won, the urgency they had been protecting themselves out of. Klopp said afterwards, "At 2-0 or 3-1, the game is not decided, but the way we played in those moments, we gave it away." He was not talking about tactics. He was talking about something football does to you the moment you start thinking about what you have rather than what you are doing. The strangest thing about a football lead is that winning it does not guarantee you will keep winning. It just guarantees you will stop playing the football that won it in the first place. Every football fan has watched a version of this match. Their team 2 goals up, comfortable, the game decided in every way except the final whistle. And the question that never quite gets answered, how? The answer is not quality. It is not luck. It is that protecting something and playing football are not the same thing. And the team behind you, the one with nothing left to protect, already knows that. Have a good one. Peace.